Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with NORML. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. It's Friday, November 17th, 2023. Can't believe this year's almost over. And you know what that means? It's time for me to answer your burning questions live. So glad we're all here together. Hello, Jennifer. You're first. Thanks for being here. Hey everyone, wherever you're watching, take a quick second to go ahead and hit that like, follow, or subscribe button so you never miss when NORML goes live. And also, while you're doing that, drop a note in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. Hey, Jennifer in Ohio. Happy Friday to you, Sherry. I am so glad to see you here. Hey, pot calls the kettle bong. Good to see you. Hello, John. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's getting dark outside. All right, everyone. Let's get into some news. John in Rich Creek. Talk a little bit about Virginia if you want. Oh, hello, Jack. You're watching from Buffalo. How can cannabis equity be fully embraced in New York State? That's a great question, Jack. It's kind of up to the people that New Yorkers elect, isn't it? Hey, Randy. Good to see you. Happy Friday, Fred. I missed you last week as well. Hello, LinkedIn user in Virginia. All right. So all of you who love cannabis policy, that's obviously why you're here. Boy, I bet you enjoy all of the hand wringing and nail biting and woe is me and reefer madness that happens when we get to say, oh, but what about the children? Well, good news. Good news. Yeah, the kids are still all right. The kids have been all right, at least when it comes to cannabis, for a hot minute now, but they're still all right. And that's not according to us. It's according to the US government. Hey, Joe in Kansas City. Welcome. So there was a survey that was just published. And take a look at that, read it. Thank you, US government, for this survey that you put out every year. And it shows that teen marijuana use rates remain below pre-pandemic levels, some of the lowest levels they've ever been. So put that in your activist pocket. Save it for when you need it. Good news, good news. Let's talk about two more policy things. Do you want the good or the bad first? I mean, none of them are really bad. It's just kind of comical and entirely par for the course. All right, so I guess they both have a little bit of good and bad in them. Earlier this week, friends, in Lubbock, Texas, city-level lawmakers voted against adopting a marijuana depenalization measure. And because at the city level they voted against it, that means it goes to the voters in May. So in May, voters in Lubbock, Texas will have the opportunity to approve a marijuana depenalization measure. Thanks to the work of the good people at Freedom Act Lubbock. You can read all about that and more in the blog I just shared with you. Lubbock has a pretty big population, about 261,000 people will decide this next spring on a depenalization measure. So because advocates submitted twice the total number of signatures required to compel officials to vote on the measure, and then they didn't, now it kicks over. Not they rejected it, now it kicks over to the voters. You're welcome, John Boy. Thanks for being here. All right, and some nonsense on a larger scale. Worked out okay in Lubbock. I think it's going to work out again okay in Lubbock. Oh, hey, Amy. Yeah, we can talk about the paper that's gotten some the clickbait articles about cannabis being bad for your heart. We can talk about that in a little bit. Let me bring this one up first, and then Amy, please remind me if I forget. All right, in Ohio, I think we might have talked about this a little bit earlier, but in Ohio, some Republican lawmakers and some notorious prohibitionist groups are calling for not only amendments to the voter-approved legalization law in Ohio, but for a complete repeal of it as well. So some really like wonky things like what you should repeal it altogether, overturn the will of the voters altogether, or the pretend softer version where they say, yeah, okay, legalization, sure, but you should eliminate the provisions allowing for any sales. Now, Ohio already has medical cannabis sales. So apparently this group of people think this urine testing powered organization thinks that we should close up shop in Ohio's medical cannabis program and not enact legalization. Apparently they think, marijuana doesn't belong behind an age verified counter. Whatever. Oh, Eric, you know what's up. Joshua, also remind me about that. I'm going to do, I like your question, Joshua, since that is related to Virginia criminal case. And Amy, I'm going to talk about yours now. Amy asked about this. I mean, it's even a paper that's out there about a study that says, oh, marijuanas are bad for your heart. Okay, well, nope, I don't want all of those informations there, please and thank you. I am going to pull a little search link for you, Amy, just so you can take a look right here. There you go. Now, like sometimes papers come out or studies come out and it doesn't mean they're good, but when they're sexy, when they're going to generate clicks, that's when they get media coverage. Now, Amy, what I just dropped in the comments for you and everyone else is a literal list of studies. It just keeps going on and on that talks about no elevation between marijuana use and elevated cardiovascular risk. Cannabis use is not predictive of adverse cardiovascular events. Use of medical cannabis unassociated with increased risk of serious cardiovascular events. Marijuana use unassociated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease. It just keeps going on and on and on. Low doses of THC provide cardioprotection. Marijuana compounds hold promise in treatment of cardiovascular diseases. Pot compound mitigates diabetic cardiomyopathy. Right? So here's one, story that's super fun to report on because it's negative. One paper. And then there's a whole lot of evidence out there that's contrary to what this one says. So, Is it reasonable to assume that socioeconomic factors are accounting for these cardiovascular risks? Yes. But also correlation is not causation. So go read all these other studies and then come to your own conclusion. Amy, I know where you're at. Okay, Joshua. Joshua asks, any comments about the Department of Justice saying cannabis users are too dangerous to own guns? So what happened, friends? First of all, in this same case has been referred to as not a marijuana case. In Virginia, a child brought a gun to school and fired at his teacher. Now, it turns out that, according to investigators, that this mother had when she purchased the gun, indicated on the background check form that she was not an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana. Turns out that she uses cannabis. So this is literally all that's been blowing up our Virginia news section right now. Let's see if I can pull up the story. Great, here's one. Super. We'll go with AP. So the mother of this 6-year-old boy who shot his teacher is getting 21 months for lying on the background check, is what they've decided. What you're asking me about, Joshua, is the judge's remarks. And the judge says, quote, "This case cries out for a sentence of imprisonment. And this judge believes that there's a direct line between the teacher's injuries and the mother's cannabis use." And the judge also goes on to say that the son never would have obtained a weapon if his mother had obeyed the law. Oh. I'm scrolling through the article, looking at it right now. Oh yes, let's not forget. Federal prosecutors in this case argued that her chronic, persistent, and life-affecting abuse extends this case far beyond any occasional and/or recreational use. Then they said, this case is not a marijuana case. Federal prosecutors said, this case is not a marijuana case. So I think that's important, Joshua. So, no, thank you, AP. I don't want that. They go on to say that it is a case that underscores the inherently dangerous nature and circumstances that arise from the caustic cocktail of mixing consistent and prolonged controlled substance use with a lethal firearm. Well, there you go. That's what I have to say about it. There's a lot to this case, and this isn't a case of someone had weed and the gun. This is a much more high-profile case where a teacher was injured by a child with a weapon that should have been secured. But you know what's fun to report on? Marijuana. Who's watching CNN, Brian? Is that what's on CNN right now? Start over. Hi, Ellie. Happy Friday to you as well. Hey, Bernie, good to see you. Joshua, he's so funny. Hi, Marcy, good to see you. Hey, Eric. Eric is asking if I'm aware of any progress being made in Pennsylvania. Hey, I have an article scheduled on our socials, Eric, about Pennsylvania, and I'm going to see if I can get there, because of course I don't just have that article sitting around. I think it's going to publish either Saturday or Sunday on our, come on, Facebook, catch up. My request couldn't be processed. Neat. I really need you to work Facebook because I have to answer this question for Eric. All right, I think it's coming up on Sunday. It is, and I'm going to find it for you right now, and then we're going to read it together. All right, so this is an article about an article, Eric, but the gist of it is, are you ready? It's high time for Pennsylvania to legalize marijuana. Well, that never gets old. There's the article for you right now, which opens with, "Let's be blunt." This is a student newspaper. Nonetheless, it does talk about the effort in Pennsylvania and Patrick Nightingale, who's a member of the NORML Legal Committee, has comments in there as well. It talks about another article that was done the week before in the Tribune Review that covered this issue as well. And there is legislation that has been introduced, and I am going to take a quick look at that right now for you, Eric. I said quick. It's not going to be quick. I'm going to take a look at that and tell you what it says. Pennsylvania. Well, there's a lot. And they're all in committee. They're all still in committee. Establishing an adult use cannabis program that was last referred to health in May. So you can visit our ACT page, click on your state, and if there's legislation that's still active in your state, there will be an action alert for it. There you go, Eric. And there are still action alerts pending for Pennsylvania. It looks like there are still 12 bills that are active. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, John. Sorry, first I'm going to go back to, I think these are all, you know, hey, Coley. Coley says the election went well. That was positive. Yes. Joshua asked, how quickly do I think we'll get legal sales in Virginia now? Quickly. I think if you want quick legal sales and you want to participate in the medical cannabis program, because you can go the same day you get your certification. And fortunately in Virginia, there's not a made up list of conditions and there's not an age requirement. So you can just use telehealth and get your certification and then go to the store and it's not taxed. But yes, even though Democrats have taken the majority in the Virginia House and Senate, they're still going to have their own feelings about what they would like marijuana legalization to look like, what they would like retail sales to look like. And it remains to be seen if they are willing to be pragmatic or if they're just going to use this as a talking point the same way Republicans do. Then you've still got the Republican Governor Youngkin, who himself has said zero about cannabis, but members of his administration have been very outspoken and have said, oh no, he opposes this. So if Democrats are going to get a bill to the governor, and it's not one that Republicans were willing to vote for, if it's not a bipartisan bill, if it's not a bill that Republicans like, he's not going to sign it. And then they just wasted all of your time, efforts, money on nothing. So, O'Brien, I think that just kind of, I hope I went from Joshua's into Brian's statement there. Yeah. So sure. Oh, will we one day, Brian? Absolutely. Unless Virginians keep electing idiots, then, no. And that's the same for any state, right? If you live in a state and then you vote for people who are terrible on cannabis policy, you aren't going to get good cannabis policies. It's that simple. So, it's almost like elections have consequences. Almost like that. Hey, Sue, I'm going to read your comment. Yeah, Sue, I agree. And not just Virginia legislators, but legislators around the country. Look at what we were just talking about in Ohio, where Republican members of the legislature are actively trying to amend, reform, repeal, roll back the voter-approved legalization measure in that state. So Sue's saying how are politicians so arrogant and entitled and condescending, and they go out of their way to undermine what a majority of voters want. Yep. Again, you have to elect the people, and then no matter who's elected, you have to talk to them. So if you're in Ohio, start talking to your legislators and let them know where you stand and what you want to see. And if you're in Virginia, start talking to your legislators and let them know what you want to see. Because right now, in Virginia, the entire conversation is about who gets a license, who gets to make money first or next off of consumers. Now, there is no legal cannabis industry without consumers. There's no cannabis industry without consumers. So why you are last in line in this equation is beyond me. Does anyone care what you, the consumers, want? Nope. They only care about who gets to make money off of you. That seems kind of backwards. Is that what Eric says can't get out of committee, though? Is that where your Pennsylvania bills are stuck in? I mean, I see that. They were assigned in May. Woof. Hi, Wade. What did you miss? I don't know. Me getting loud about stuff, probably. Thank you, Joshua, for your clarification. Joshua says, I meant how long of a timeline are we looking at? Very minimum. Okay, so let's say in Virginia in the 2024 General Assembly, a bill to enact adult use retail at the existing medical stores. Let's say a bill like that was passed, right? Simple bill. It's an easy bill. It's what literally every single state except for New York has done. Every state. So if we know it's a policy measure that works, why wouldn't we take advantage of it? Anyhow, so let's say a bill like that passed. Now, there wouldn't be enough votes for such a bill to have an emergency enactment clause on it. So the earliest a bill like that could take effect would be July 1. It would arguably be a pretty simple process. The existing operators would pay a fee. The legislature would have previously determined what that fee is and into what fund that those revenues get paid, the tax revenues get paid. So it could happen pretty quickly. It could happen in July. It could happen in 2024. You know, the way it was supposed to. But again, that means everyone's got to coalesce around a bill that's pragmatic and palatable. So are they going to do that? Are they going to put consumers and public safety first? Or are they going to keep whining and complaining about their Twitter war narratives and their their propaganda and their politicking and who gets to make money first. Let's find out together. Hey, Charlie, I thought you weren't going to be here. I hope I saw your message this morning. I hope that you heard the conversation earlier about DOJ. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy that, Marcy. No, Anthony, we don't endorse any specific training programs when it comes to businesses. Hello, Grind Life TV. It would be nice if Indiana could get it together. Indiana's got to do some work with their elections. Hey, Rodney, in Kentucky. I mean, Brian, I wish Virginia were worried about the money. They're not. They're worried about getting reelected. Hey, Sherry, any updates on the Virginia Cannabis Conference? Sure. Yes, I don't have the link from the hotel for room reservations yet, but the hotel is the Delta by Marriott in downtown Richmond. And the website is virginiacannabisconference.com. That sounded really smug. Let me get back into the script real quick, Sherry. I'm so glad you brought that up, and maybe we're getting back on track here. I'm going to tell you about a couple of things, and one of those are going to be our events that are coming up. Hey, real quick, remember how we had Veterans Day? That was fun. You should not right this second because we're doing something together. But after that, you should take a quick second and tell Congress that VA doctors should be able to recommend medical cannabis. There's an action alert. You click it and it will take you, I don't know, 30 seconds if you have a slow connection to send a message to your members of Congress in support of this provision, we'll say, in the MilCon VA thing. Anyhow, we've had these provisions in these military spending bills before that would finally allow VA doctors to recommend medical cannabis in states where it's legal, but it's been pulled out. And it's entirely possible it can end up on the chopping block again when the Senate and House negotiate the final version of this legislation. So please make sure you take a quick second to send a message in support of that inclusion in MilCon VA. And I know you're all going to do that because you're amazing. A few more. I have 3 more things to tell you about. Who thinks cannabis can help you lose weight? Well, whoever answers will be correct, because there's a new meta-analysis that just came out, and it looked at a lot of products that were in clinical trials and the results of those trials. And typically, subjects who consumed cannabis or cannabis-related products experienced weight loss and lower BMI. And for some reason, it didn't post everywhere. So if it didn't post somewhere, go to our blog. 2 more. They're going to be so quick because, I think we've talked about these things a lot. There is And speaking of clinical trials, there's another one. There's a new one. This, in fact, randomized clinical trial provides the first evidence that CBD can be a safe and effective analgesic for dental pain. What I really liked about this, though, is that the authors go on to say that their study could be used in a larger discussion around CBD as an alternative analgesic to opioids for like acute inflammatory pain conditions. And ultimately, this could help address the opioid epidemic. So they were like, yes, dental pain, but also opioid epidemic. Think about it like that. So there's that. Hey, Rodney. Oh, that's amazing. I'm glad that's helping with your A1C. There's a lot of good data that we have covered on the NORML website. You can click the search icon up at the top and do like diabetes or blood sugar or weight loss, and we have a lot of. It's been a pretty popular study topic recently. And speaking of popular study topics, boy, people are super into CBD right now. I feel like so much of our news is about CBD, but what I really like about this one in particular, right, because even scientists use CBD as like this catch-all term. They're not necessarily talking about cannabidiol, the molecule. They might be talking about a product that contains other things, and they'll call it CBD. It's like, let's be real specific. And then they did in this one. There were nearly 400 adult volunteers in this study that compared the effectiveness of 2 THC-free CBD products. How well that's written. One product was CBD isolate, and the other one was here we go with the made-up words, broad spectrum, meaning it contains not only CBD, but other cannabinoids and terpenes, did not contain THC. What will come as no surprise is that the one that contained CBG and CBD was more effective. But subjects from the study reported that they experienced stress relief, which I'm sure comes as no surprise to any of you watching. No, whoever you are, now I have to block you and delete the comment, and that's not what people are here to watch me do. All right, Sherry, I'm so glad you asked that question, because now after I'm done blocking this wacko, I can share the information about our upcoming events. Here we go. Thanks for wasting everyone's time. First up, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, South Carolina NORML does their weekly live stream. You can check that and my good friend Scott out on their YouTube. There's the link for you. Just take your time, StreamYard. We'll all wait. Oh, Marcy, I'm so glad to hear that. The cannabis you cultivated for your mom was useful. All right. More events. So soon. It's so soon. Oh my gosh, it's so soon. Very soon, friends. Will we even get to do a live before then? I don't know. We might not do. This might be our last live for a few weeks. I'll see how it shakes out in Key West, and if I can get to it, I will. And if I can't, I'm so sorry. I love you anyway. Because next week is Thanksgiving, and I'm not doing this the day after Thanksgiving, even though you will be in my heart. And I will be thankful for your support. But the following week, we will be headed to Key West for the NORML Key West Legal Seminar. There's still time for you to get your tickets. You can still register and join us there. It's November 30th through December 2nd at the Pier House Resort and Spa in, obviously, Key West. Peep that. Coming up after that, like right after that, NORML in Texas. Texas NORML will be doing their December live stream on December 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Hang out with my darling friend, Jax James. Talk about all things cannabis in Texas. A little bit more. Oh, I didn't put up the information, but this is January 17. I happen to know that. January 17, 2024, South Carolina NORML will be at their state capitol. That went in there super weird, so I hope you can. Ugh, that was awful. I'll put that again because it was so bad. Also, I hope it's the 17th. It just felt that just felt right when I said it. Maybe it's not. It looked so wonky. There it is again, just in case that should be less wonky. South Carolina NORML will be at their capital on January 17th. Sign up, go. They have lobbying training there. They have speakers, all sorts of stuff. Speaking of speakers and lobbying, hey, why don't you come to the Virginia Cannabis Conference if that's your thing? It's January 19th, 20th, and 21st in Richmond, Virginia at the Delta by Marriott, which is in downtown Richmond. The 19th, that is the Friday, so that is the welcome reception, badge pickup, and welcome reception. First full day of seminar and expo is that Saturday. Second day is that Sunday. And then Monday is our lobby day. It's Cannabis Lobby Day at the Capitol, Virginia Capitol, on Monday, January 22nd, because it's always the Monday after Gun Day. And we will do a nice lobby day breakfast at the Delta, and then you can take the shuttle over to the Capitol, which we will be back in the General Assembly building. Finally, the real GAB has been rebuilt, so we'll be back there. Can't wait for that. And if you like that cannabis conference, my friends, you are going to love the 2024. No, figure it out yourself, my dude. You're going to love the Kentucky Cannabis Conference. The 2024 Kentucky Cannabis Conference is March 7th through 9th. Get all your details from that link that I just dropped. If you don't like watching this, I don't know, don't follow us. How about that? Hello, Chris J. Good to see you here from South Africa. You should do a live. Sherry, I hope that answered your questions, but also, friends, another one of the amazing things about the Virginia Cannabis Conference, and I don't know, maybe the Kentucky one too, is that you will be able to get amazing things like this from local craftspeople who make cannabis-related products, like Sherry. So come. It'll be the best. Oh, there's new comments. Good evening to you as well, Chris. Friends, this has been a blast as always. I know, I can't wait, Sherry. It's gonna be so good. Hey, I want to tell you a couple of more things. You know what comes out tomorrow? It's Saturday, so it means. Try that again. You know what that means? It's time for NORML's Weekend Weed Read. NORML's Weekend Weed Read delivers Saturdays at 9 a.m. So if you want to make sure that's always in your inbox on Saturday mornings, then make sure you subscribe and check the Weekend Weed Read box. And then you'll get it. It's like a little Weeder's Digest. See what I did there? If my partner were watching this, they'd be so embarrassed. Hello, Charlie in Wisconsin, where they can't get it right. Charlie, first of all, you're not wrong. Second, there are so many states that can't get it right, so you're in okay company. A few more things. You know what's helpful, Charlie? Books like this, Clinical Applications for Cannabis and Cannabinoids, if your state is struggling with marijuana legalization or with enacting common sense medical cannabis access laws. This is helpful. It looks good. It's very informative and doesn't make cannabis sound fun or sexy at all. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, I mean, this book is amazing. But it's great for legislators and healthcare providers. You can get this in the print form in the NORML store, store.norml.org. I'll drop that in there for you. And you can get the electronic copy. You can get the ebook version in the Amazon Kindle store. And if you want to piecemeal it, if you want every single section of this book in web or PDF form, it's all available on the NORML website. Just go to the Learn section and click on the Medical Marijuana Research Library, and it's all there for you. So if you just want to share the section on Alzheimer's with your clinician, you can download that as a PDF and share it that way as well. But definitely buy the book from us. And then also, we are in the very beginning of our 2024 membership drive. I will be shipping out the first batch of these cards, our brand new 2024 member cards. I'll be shipping these out the first week of December. So if you want yours in time for the new year, get it right now. Go to norml.org/join. Donate $42 or more in a calendar year, and that's how you become a member. Donate it all at once or break it up over multiple months or multiple donations. When you hit $42, this guy's going to put this card in the mail to you. Thank you so much. Also, please mark your calendars, because not only is it Thanksgiving next week, where we will send you a very heartfelt email telling you how grateful and thankful we are for you, because without you, we would not have made such incredible progress. But we are also going to send you friendly reminders like, hey, it's Cyber Monday, so visit our web store, and hey, it's Giving Tuesday, so give. I'm going to send you that email. I know you can't wait to see it from me. Friends, this has been delightful. Sue, you're so funny. Let's do this again soon. Maybe while I'm in Key West, we'll find out. We'll see how it goes. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Before you go, take a quick second to hit that like, follow, or subscribe button so you never miss when NORML goes live. This has been fun. Let's just do this again soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.